Hello, hello. Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Try them out. Try both of them out. See which one's better for you. Figure this out. We'll make it work.
Oh yeah, that's
Better? Bucket? Cool. 1 2 1 2 1 2 and 2. No, just something new, relatively new. Oh, I usually have three. Yeah, I usually have microphones. I wasn't expecting. I didn't think Victor was going to show up today.
See, at least now we can put our legs in there.
Yeah. Then just point yourself towards the mic when you're talking.
All right.
What I can do is probably turn it when I talk. Whatever. You could just talk into it. Talk into it
like this.
You got to talk out. Speak normal. Don't be all sexy.
Sorry, that's kind of automatic for me.
Yeah, well, yeah, you are. It just kind of naturally occurs.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Good.
Yeah. 1 2 1 2. You can hear me, right? Everybody can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You guys are all good? Good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah. No music on this one, huh? We're just going to.
I'm going to add the opening later because I don't have the computer hooked up right now. I have
Oh, okay.
So I don't need the computer to do the show.
Oh, that records it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it does a recording, and usually I can have the computer, and a lot of times I have the computer just for reference.
Yeah.
And so I can look stuff up in case I'm making something up or whatever it is. And
that's why we got iPhones.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So it does give me a little bit more. When we use the computer, I have some more options in terms of audio and things like that.
Yeah.
But I don't need it in order to record the show. So,
Good.
How are you, Joe Torres?
I'm all right, man. It's been a crazy new year. I started off the new year with having a damn sewer line crack. So I was at work I was at work the other day, and my wife calls me up first thing in the morning, like 8:30. I just started work at 8 o'clock. And she's like, oh, there's water running all over the place. The washing machine, there's water coming up from the floor drain, and it's all leaking downstairs and in your little bike shop down there and in the computer room and all that. I says, oh, man. I says, maybe it just needs to be rotted out, So anyway, I was able to go home for a couple hours. There's water all over the freaking place, dude. Like all my bike parts I have in like some totes, some plastic totes. And I just so happened to be sorting through there the other day looking for some like brake levers. So I left the covers off them.
Oh, geez.
So anyway, all the fucking water went right in there. It was probably like 3 inches of water in each of those totes. So all my old levers and all the other like cables and all that stuff got all drenched in water, and it was a freaking mess. We had to get the shop vac out and all that stuff. And luckily, we have someone within our little here that does this type of work to repair that. And I was lucky enough to have him to come out like the next day to come and repair the sewer break. And it was a bad break right at the foundation wall. So yeah, so that's all fixed now, and it was nerve-wracking for a while, but then...
So it was right at the foundation. It was like, that's a bad break, because you can't just splice something in there, right? You got to end up having to do the whole thing.
You got to excavate, to get to it. But that's where mostly everything breaks, is right at the foundation wall, because it just shears off right at the wall with all the weight from the backfill and the dirt that's on the outside. It's all that pressure just pushes it down and just snaps it,
Holy cow.
And this was snapped to the point where it was like 50% of the pipe that was below, so you can see the top of the pipe.
Oh, wow.
Like down with the stone on top when I was looking through the clean out and all that with the flashlight. What a freaking disaster, man. But Brad was saying that it's probably been like that for quite some time, and it took enough buildup down there to just back up all the pipes in the house and start having stuff come up from the floor drain on the main floor.
Oh, that's spicy.
Yeah.
That's Bike Shop Society for you. That's there's Brad, the guy who helped you, the kid who helped you.
Yeah.
I got a text from you. You're like, oh shit, I can't do because we were going to do the podcast. He's like, oh, I gotta, my sewer line is broken.
You just came out of nowhere, man.
And Brad, the kid who helped you, I mean, he's hung out here at the bike shop since he was
15,
12, 13 years old. I mean, he was a little kid. No, they were younger than 15. I mean, he was a little kid. He was preteen. They were still in grammar school when they started hanging out here. And it was when I opened the shop 15 years ago. So, his dad has an excavating service, and they do that they do a lot of that work.
Yeah.
They do a lot of that
underground utilities and stuff like that.
But yeah, you're like, oh, I need his number, and yeah, sure enough, man, there was one of the kids that came through, and he drives around in that big truck and that service truck of his all the time, and
you saved my ass because I was calling around. I know a couple plumbers, and the plumber knows someone else and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be a lot of red tape, and it probably could have cost me, $6,000-7,000 easily, easily. It's probably still going to cost me $5,000-6,000, but luckily, I took out that insurance on my services for the house like 4 years ago. So I know it's not really bike related, but what is bike related is the damn water from the main floor from the washing machine, all dumped all over the freaking place in my little bike shop.
Your workshop.
Everything, dude. I just took the tote, just drained the water out in the slop sink down there, and was able to hold everything in without it falling into the sink. And then I took all the parts and everything I had and just laid them on the floor so they could just air out and dry. But man, what a freaking disaster!
Well, that's the nice thing. They're bike parts. They're designed to get wet.
They're aluminum. They're aluminum. For the most part,
I mean, it's a bike. Yeah, I mean, they're bikes. Yeah, I know. It's just it's a pain in the ass. We've gotten flooded in here. We've got there's plenty over the years. I've had plenty of. Not to that extent, not where it's up to our knees or anything, but enough water where I have to get the shop vac out, clean stuff up, pull everything out of the shop. I mean, water's horrible.
You got to get everything out of the way. So all the shit that was against the wall, all the water was at, like they had some bikes sitting over there. My wife moved like all this stuff from where the water was just building up at. She just moved all that stuff out of the way so we get the wet vac going. And luckily, the damage wasn't too bad. So the interior damage wasn't bad. It was soapy water instead of sanitary line water.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
A big difference,
It could have been a lot worse. Yeah. But it could have been that too, right? I mean, it could have, because that's your main.
It could have been shit water all over my bike.
Yeah.
Shit.
Imagine
that,
But that
would have just stunk up the whole damn place. But no, luckily it wasn't.
You have to put all that stuff up on eBay right away.
Put it out at the curb with the rugs and all that.
Yeah.
Out of here, But
well,
it was interesting.
I'm happy.
It's all taken care of now.
Well, it's good. I mean, it's good that it worked out. I mean, it could have been a lot worse, and I mean, you could still be living without water, basically, without the use of your house. I mean, it's
toilets, no showers. Just
holidays is a bad time for that to happen. It was like right after New Year's, so people aren't working, or it's hard to get people to rally around and do that kind of stuff.
You gotta be shitting me. You gotta be kidding me.
It's good that that's good.
Bike shops brought us a lot of people that are in different.
I always say that, man.
Trades,
Bike Shop Society. There's a reason why I called it Bike Shop Society, because it's a group of people that hang out. You never know who you meet at the bike shop, right? And you meet all sorts of really interesting people, and people from interesting backgrounds, and people that do cool stuff. Some people that do boring stuff. In theory, I mean, installing sewers and utilities doesn't sound exactly exciting work until you need it. Right. And you're really excited that a guy who knows how to do that kind of stuff, right?
It really is. The people that you meet, you don't know who the hell you're talking to. Sometimes they just want to buy a bike. Next thing you know, he's a heart surgeon or some shit, or excellent craftsman for lumber and stuff like that, But you never know who you're going to meet. You, like you said, you got what? Isa's dad. He's a carpenter.
He does
artwork and stuff too, man. And
he helped me put the window in front here in the shop, and I've been when I was
a big window too.
When I was working at Cycle Smithy, I was like down on the service counter. And I was kind of like talking, like I had kind of a thing, like I had lost my voice.
Oh,
and
so you sounded like me.
And one of my customers, this guy that I'd helped out a lot, didn't know what he did or anything. He's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I got this thing.
Yeah.
He's like, come over here.
He took his flashlight out.
And I come around the counter, and he puts his hands on my throat, and he's like, oh yeah, you got swelling there. He's like, that's post-nasal drip. He's like, what you got is post-nasal drip. Just go down to Walgreens, pick yourself up some,
You wrote your prescription right here?
No, I didn't even need a prescription. He's like, go get some Afrin or whatever it was, and spray it up your nose, and you'll be fine in a couple hours. And sure enough, and I'm like, what are you, a doctor or something? He's like, yeah, actually, I'm an emergency room doctor at Northwestern Hospital. And I'm like, wow, man, lucky me. Like all these years.
You don't know. He's just here for a flat tire.
I just see him with flip-flops and shorts, just kind of he's just a Lincoln Park dude, right? I mean, no idea who or what he did,
Exactly. You don't know who you're talking to.
No, and it's like all these years I've been dealing with this doctor, this emergency room doctor. And it was also in those years, it was before the years of Googling people. You couldn't just like Google them and find some sort of, figure out who that person was. These days, if somebody kind of seems out of the ordinary, first thing you do is you run to Google and throw their name in there, and
holy shit.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, that's happened to me. I don't know what's better, not knowing, because then sometimes and you're like, oh crap, I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with a congressman, or I'm dealing with
I've been fixing this guy's bike for years.
Mm-hmm.
Then I turn, you check on Google, and he's a child molester and shit.
It could be that way. It could go that way too.
You never know.
Oh, there are
crazy.
Unfortunately, in the bike business, there are a lot of child molesters. It's a known thing. Actually, I know. I mean, considering all the people I know, right? All the people that in the world.
Yeah.
And I know 2 child molesters, right? I know 2 child molesters, legit child molesters.
Yeah.
I worked with one.
Wow.
When I was working at I'm not even going to say the bike shop that I was working at. And another one was my rep. Was a rep in the bike business.
Wow.
Who also got busted for something to do with children.
Yeah.
And, both of them had like offenses. I mean, in the Chicagoland area, everybody dealt with that rep. So there's a lot of people who knowingly or unknowingly have dealt with someone who was in jail for that. And both of these guys went to jail for it.
Yeah.
So it's, it's, and if you going all the way back to Different Strokes, remember Different Strokes?
Yeah.
The 2-part, there was a special 2-part episode with the Bike Shop Man. It was called the Bike Shop Man. And it was the dude from WKRP. And he got Dudley and what's his name? Arnold. And they were like going to work at the bike shop after work every day. They volunteered to work there, and he wanted them to pass out flyers and stuff. And then he invited them into the back room.
Yeah.
And he gave them, Arnold was smart enough not to buy into it, but Dudley had some wine. I think he drank some wine
Dude, I don't remember that.
Oh man, it's a Different Strokes. And they
I don't remember that.
And then he had Dudley take his shirt off and start taking pictures of him and stuff. And look it up. It's on YouTube.
On YouTube. Yeah.
It's on YouTube. It's called Bicycle Man. Our Different Strokes Bicycle Man. It's the episode. It was a 2-part episode, but that's a very, and the guy was a child, he was a child predator. So there is some sort of weird history of that in the bicycle business.
Yeah, I never would have thought that ever.
I think, maybe back in the old days.
Different Strokes? There was
Different Strokes.
Late 70s, early 80s?
It was in the 80s. I mean, because I was a teenager when that happened. And, because I've always worked in bike shops, I'm very aware of that one,
Yeah.
That one, the one in the Brady Bunch when Peter worked at the bike shop. You ever watched that one?
I remember that one, yeah.
And
he worked at the Schwinn dealer or something?
He worked with Mr. Martinelli.
Yeah.
I know these episodes really well. Because of, I'm a professional. I got to know
Bunch, right?
The Brady Bunch. Yeah, he went to work at a bike shop, but he was too slow. Peter, you are a nice boy.
No, he wasn't.
He was nice, but he was really slow. The customer needs the bike.
Yeah, I guess we know a lot of
people. And he fired him.
Slow.
He fired him. Yeah.
Just for being slow.
Really slow. He's meticulous.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Do I take a
time is money.
Yeah, time is money, but
even back then, right?
A slow guy who's meticulous. I don't know, man. Mr. Martinelli I don't know if he had the patience. He only had him there for a week.
Yeah.
I almost side with Peter in this case because boy, Mr. Martinelli was kind of hard on him.
Well, he was European. They don't fuck around.
Yeah, I know, but after
Italian guy, right?
after a week and a half, you're a smart kid, you're a nice kid, but you are too slow. I mean, we have somebody here. Hold on a second. We have a very special guest, Victor Aletich. What's up, Victor?
Not much. How are you doing?
Oh my God, you're all choked up about being on the show. It's all right. Come on, speak up.
I think I have the same thing you just mentioned.
Oh, speak up, young boy. It's okay. Cough. Get it out of your system. Come on. Victor, how are you, man?
Doing good.
See, you weren't too slow. I kept you around here for a long time. Maybe you were slow at the beginning, but I didn't Mr. Martinelli you. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, just in town for a couple of days.
Yeah, you're in town. Victor's in town for 2 days. And then where are you going in 2 days, man?
Off to your place in Spain, actually.
Yeah.
I appreciate the room you're lending me.
He's off to Spain, man. He's off taking off, gallivanting around the world.
Get some of that Spanish strange out there. You don't like out there,
Yo, man, Victor's you're going to have a great time. You're going to have a really good time out there, man. I'm very excited for you. Victor, when did you start working? How old were you when you started working here?
I don't even know. 17 maybe?
No, you were younger than that,
16
man.
Or 17.
I think you were like younger than that. You were like probably like 15, 14 or 15. When was the first time you walked in here and said, are you hiring because he has a very special story, Joe.
Yeah.
So Victor came in here. He probably is in here 3 or 4 times. It was before I like hired him. Like he came in the fall. It was probably like, I don't know, October or something, September, October. It was late in the season.
Who was here?
Huh?
Who was here then? Earl?
Earl was working here. Probably Rick was Rick still here when you were here?
Rick was around.
So this is a long time ago. This is years ago.
I was probably 14.
You were probably 14. You were a little kid. You had just started LT. I think you were a freshman. You were maybe you started coming in here when you were in 8th grade, and then in your freshman year you started working here. Maybe 13, 14. It's about where it's about where they start showing up here.
Yeah.
And he came in. I think your mom may have driven you to the front door, and he comes running in, and he's like, "Oh, you guys hiring?" I'm like, "It's October, man. I don't know hiring nobody in October." But check with me. Keep coming in, and I will. When
you had school then too. How did you work here with school?
Well, later on, he came in like in December again, like in the middle of the winter, and checked in, and I was like, "Oh, this kid is really interested." So I'm like, good. I'm happy you're still interested, but it's winter right now. We're not ready for you. It's like, come back in a month or 2. Came back again. I'm like, all right. I like that. I like that he keeps coming back and bugging me. And I'm like, you must really want to work here. And that it was like the time it was starting to get busy at that time,
Was that COVID?
No. This is way before that. Yeah, because by COVID time you were a seasoned professional by the time COVID came, and he started training little Lisa, so he was already like helping other people, teaching other people how to do stuff by that time.
Wow!
So he had already been here at least a couple of years, 2 or 3 years before COVID. So 2000. How old were you in 2017? 2016?
14.
Yeah. So puts it right around there.
That was 2016.
That he started here. COVID was 2020. So if he was here 2 or 3 years before that, and he'd already been here for at least a couple of years. I mean, he knew a lot. He knew a lot because I know by the time COVID started, he was already. I was just looking through a bunch of.
Damn, dude.
I've been looking at a bunch of videos because I posted a tribute to Earl. I edited a bunch of video together for Earl, our mechanic who passed away, and it kind of forced me to go through all of the history, kind of comb through all those photos, and you're like, holy cow, man, there's a lot. And, seeing these guys as little kids and they're like puppies. It's like,
I saw Earl training little Isa.
Yeah, and him too, like showing him how to put a rear wheel on his road bike, like how to install a rear wheel properly on a road bike, basic stuff.
Isa still looks the same. And if that was, when was that? Then that was 2016, 2017?
Little Isa, no, that's 20 or 21.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's 2021, 21. She started here 20 or 20. She started here 21, I think.
Yeah.
So that's probably 21, 22.
After COVID.
She wasn't here for the first year of COVID. That was a nut house in here. But 21, I think by 21 she came. And
she wasn't here for the COVID?
Not the first year, not for 2020. But 2021 was still COVID. Like people were still wearing masks and freaking out. And, there's still people wearing masks and freaking out right now. But in 21, it was still going on. And that's when her dad came and deposited her on us. It was like, my little girl, she would like to learn how to work on bikes. She will just stand in the corner and watch you guys. I'm like, she ain't gonna stand. I'm like, I don't want anybody just standing in the corner. If she's coming here, she's going to go to work. I'm going to put her to work.
It's pretty ballsy just to drop her kid off over there and say, hey, she wants to work here.
It is.
You're going to teach her, and that's it.
Little did we know. I mean,
it's the European.
Yeah, we thought. You're worried about her. I'm worried about us now that she could.
Daughter, you're gonna train her. I'll see you later.
I mean, he knew what he was doing, man. That little girl can take care of herself, man. She's quite the badass. She is. She was just here. She just left. Yeah. That's why we're kind of late starting the show. She was ordering everybody around, and
there's just no fucks to give. There's
no
bullshitting around.
It's 17 degrees out there. She just got on her bike to ride home 15 miles, and she dragged 2 other people with her. So she's she's
cold out.
She's a badass. So let's get back to Victor, because we were talking about Victor. Victor's story is interesting. So he came in, he started working here, and I think over the if you work here, you hear a lot about Spain, and my wife is always over there. So, there's FaceTime calls and hi and bye and what are you doing? So there's always, Spain is always around, right? Yeah. And so he's pretty much grown up the last 10 years hearing me talk about Spain all the time. Not quite 10 years, whatever it is, right? 8 years. And now he's grown up and he's got the opportunity to start traveling and stuff. And where is he going? He's going to Spain. Yeah. And it turns out you also have an aunt who goes to Spain quite a bit, right?
Yeah, my aunt and my uncle studied abroad in Alicante. So I didn't know until after years of hearing about it.
Yeah, because there's a big university there.
Yeah, and I mean,
they studied together. Were they together when they studied there?
I think it was they were there at separate times, but
wow. But they both happened to study there.
Yeah, and they both told me about it separately after you were telling me about it.
Really?
And after that, I was like, all right, that's the place to go for sure.
Wow. Well, see, it was in the air. It was almost like it was meant to be, Victor.
Alicante.
Yeah, I mean that place is everybody talks about Girona when it comes to Spain. Like Girona is like the place that everybody knows. Oh, Girona for cycling, and the guy from the Path Less Pedaled.
Yeah.
He just moved to Girona. So
yeah.
But now it turns out that everybody in Girona wants you, like the residents of Girona are like starting to turn on cyclists because they've blown the place up.
I heard about that. Yeah, they're kind of turning against the
tourists and people moving in.
Home,
and
get out of here.
Yeah, it's particularly up there in the Catalonia region and Barcelona and stuff. They're
just doing that here now in Chicago, though. With all how the immigrants, people are telling them to get out.
I don't think they're exactly tourists, though.
No, they're not tourists. No, they're definitely not.
I don't think those guys are.
They don't fit into that class.
No, this is more like they're kind of angry at people because they
got money and they're moving out there. And
well, they're actually what they're blaming them for is like how their housing. Just like the rest of the world, there's housing issues out there, not enough housing and stuff, and they're blaming them. They're blaming the tourists for the spike in rental prices out there, but it really has nothing to do with the tourists.
No,
it's more of a government issue and some laws that they passed that encourage people to take their rentals off the market. They have these very lenient squatter rules there. So like if there's like an abandoned property and we like moved in there,
right,
we have the right to stay there. That they can't evict us.
Well, that's how it is here.
One of my friend's old houses is getting squatted right now.
Really?
In Burr Ridge.
Yes. And you can still at some point go to the law. It takes a while and you can get them out. But over there, they're really lenient.
Yeah.
And they could just park it there. And you got to pay the mortgage. You got to
right.
You're still responsible for the property.
Yeah, and you can't just tell them to get
and you can't go over there. You can't force them out. You can't do anything, right?
Right.
And so people are like, well, there's no.
So they're doing that in Spain too.
Yeah, they do a lot. It's a big
nice.
problem. It's a big problem. It's a big problem there, and it's also like a political issue,
it's
government.
It's totally political. It's bullshit. It's total bullshit. Because how dare you move into someone's house and just take it over now?
Oh yeah,
you can't even evict the guys out of there to get them out of there.
No, you can't. You can't.
Total bullshit.
You can't. There's. You can go to the courts, and there's a really, there's a real roundabout way of trying to get them out of there. But for the most part, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work to get them out. But it's a hot political issue there. It's like, well, it's one of those things, left, right, blah, blah, blah. And it's one of the reasons why people kind of don't, they've pulled their properties off for rental and turned them into like short-term rental and medium-term rental places like Airbnbs and stuff like that. And they blame the tourists for that, but it's not really a tourist issue.
It's a worldwide.
Yeah, it's a really small percentage of the apartments that they're talking about.
It happens everywhere.
Yeah. And
when did that all change? Because I learned about that probably a year ago. But I have no idea what the laws were before.
The squatting thing has been happening for a while now. Yeah. But this whole movement, this anti-tourist movement is probably since COVID. So what happened during COVID is that tourism dropped all around the world. And then everybody ran campaigns to kind of turn on the tourism fountain again, and get people to visit the country, start spending money.
Yeah.
And Spain just surpassed France as the number one country in the world for tourism. If they haven't surpassed them, I think they were on the verge. I don't know how it ended up finishing at the end of the year, but they were right there. They were on the cusp of like overtaking France for the amount of number one in the world as far as like people visiting the country. For years and years, it's been France.
But what about people moving to the country?
Right now, moving to Spain is huge, particularly Northern Europeans right now moving to Spain is very big. All the people from the Baltic states and people up there, a lot of Polish people have been moving to Spain. And so much so that they've like the real estate agencies in all those Mediterranean towns are hiring Polish people to like work at their agencies to deal with all the influx of of Polish people moving. Well, they're the EC, so they can live there. They have they've got their they got.
You don't have to apply for anything special.
No, they got an EC passport. They can buy easily there. They can live there, so they've been buying properties. It's also warm. It's nice. The weather. It's like moving to Florida for an American, right? It's like. If you live in Chicago, you buy a house down in Florida, buy a house down in Arizona, somewhere warm, right? And but right now, Americans moving to Spain, huge on the rise. So last year, 3% of the mortgages because you can get a mortgage over there. If you're an American, if you're a foreigner, you can get a mortgage to buy a property in Spain. And last year, of all the mortgages that were issued to foreigners buying property in Spain, 3% of the mortgages were issued to Americans. This year, it's up to like 12 to 13% of the mortgages issued to foreigners are Americans.
Yeah.
And it's on the rise. So after the election, there's a lot of things that are causing people to move out of the country, that are just to do something else. The fact that you can work digitally, the whole digital nomad thing is, has opened up possibilities for people and opportunities to live abroad and work but there's just I think that it's just a whole bunch of things that are driving that. Not just one. It's not just politics.
It's not just warm weather.
Warm weather and the lifestyle for sure. I mean, that's probably what's bringing you that's what's attracting the people to Spain is the lifestyle, the weather, the health system, the affordability. I think there's a lot of people our age that are kind of looking at the next 25 years and figuring out like, well, man, the United States it's a very difficult place to grow old and it doesn't look good. Like, like growing old in the United States, like there comes an age here in the United States where nobody has any use for you anymore. You don't see a lot of old people out there playing cards in the street at 11 o'clock at night and having a glass of wine.
Right.
They pretty much throw you in a retirement home. You're sitting there watching Jeopardy at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just waiting to go to bed. It's not a very dynamic life. And I think people are realizing that there are countries around the world where, your golden age can be golden. You can still have a social life. You can still go out to dinner. You can still take walks in the evening. It's warm, depending on where in the country you live, it's warm.
Not here. It's not like that here.
You don't see that around here, man. No. I don't see a lot of gray-haired people taking walks out in front of the bike shop or down the street in the city. You don't. You don't see a lot of people in their 70s and 80s living active lifestyles and hanging down at the beach and smoking their cigar and having a card game with their friends. And over there, it's not just Spain, but Italy and France. I mean, your life isn't over when you retire. It's a very different lifestyle. And I think people are catching on to it. And I think people our age and a little bit younger who maybe have traveled a little bit or, I think now with YouTube and, the ability to see some of that stuff on social media, you're understanding what kind of opportunities are out there. And you're like, well, I can do that.
Right.
And now you're connected in so many different ways that like, even if you are 8 hours away on an airplane, like you have FaceTime and sometimes.
Yeah. You're not really gone.
I talk to my wife more when she's out of town than I do when she's here.
Yeah.
Like with Facebook and, like with FaceTime and stuff, like we have long sometimes I'm on the phone with her for like a half an hour.
Is she still
talking?
Is she here now or is she out of town?
She's in Madrid right now.
Okay.
So, yeah. So she, like when we have conversations and talk about stuff, when we're here, it's like, we'll sit in the same room and watch Netflix. You know what I mean? We'll have a little dinner together, and then watch some TV, but we're not talking about anything. But when she's away, we're like talking about stuff and what we're doing. And, it's just a different dynamic, I think. And
is that where you got to fly into, Madrid? Is that where you're flying into? Madrid?
You will, right?
And then
I'm sorry, I took over your whole conversation when you asked me about
We only have the one mic, so.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, I only have... I fly into Madrid, and then I have a connection to Alicante.
Yeah, you have a connection to Alicante.
Well, it's a smaller plane to Alicante.
Yeah, a little bit. But there's
or the train, or
you could take the train. You could take a train. You could take a high-speed train. It's about 2 hours from Madrid to Alicante.
You're not doing that?
No, because you know what? He's flying with an with his bicycle.
Okay.
And so doing that operation with a bike is hard. It's not very easy. And I think I talked about it on the show when I went to Spain last time, and I was traveling with a bike in a box.
Yeah.
And it was, I was able to do it because I spoke Spanish. I knew my way around the country, and I talked to the guy the conductor of the train, and luckily he was really nice to me, and he found a place There was the handicap spot in one of the trains wasn't taken. There wasn't somebody, in a wheelchair that was traveling that day.
Yeah.
And they were able to put the bike in that, he's like, you could put it here, but next time he's like, you're lucky because, normally this wouldn't work.
You couldn't take the bike on a train.
No, you can take the bike if you fold it, take it apart and put it in a bag and it fit in it fit in the luggage bin. So in theory, if I had it wrapped in a bag with both, with the front wheel off and folded up, like a folding bike, you could probably carry it.
Like wrinkle setup, kind of just take it apart, the Japanese wrinkle design.
Yeah, ideally a folding bike.
Yeah.
Because it's got to sit in a rack and it's only, you only have so much width. So even a standard bike with both wheels off is, you'd have to probably take both wheels off. I mean, it would have been cumbersome. You could travel on one of the high speed trains that way.
You should just ride to Alicante from there, man.
Sure, start bike touring.
Yeah, you do your tour doing that.
No, he's doing it the right way. He's gonna, you know what?
Well,
so
Google Translate on there, you'll be fine. Mostly everybody speaks English over there.
Ah, man,
that country screwed up, man.
Victor's traveling in style, man. He was here, and then my wife FaceTimed me a couple hours ago, and I'm like, look who's here, and he was able to coordinate his. He's like a dandy. He's gonna get picked up at the airport by my wife when he gets there on Wednesday. So it's perfect. What's the first thing you're going to do when you get out there?
I don't know.
Well,
check out the town. Just ride around.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I was telling Victor that we have some friends out there that they're running a bike shop. It's a friend of a friend who has like a cool alt bike shop in a town called Elche, right out. It's like a suburb of Alicante proper. Okay. South, like actually close to the airport where you're going to be flying into. And he's got maybe like 8 or 9 miles from where you're staying. That's not bad. You can ride your bike over. And a friend of a friend owns a bicycle shop there, and he's going to be one of the frame builders from Madrid that I've spoken about.
Yeah.
They're teaming up to make frames there and do some stuff out of Alicante. And I told Victor he's got to go over there and introduce himself and maybe volunteer and do a little work, hang out there. And the bike community is always very welcoming to other bike dudes, and a shop like that, kind of a cool alt bike shop.
So it's like 10 miles from your in-laws' house.
Yeah, about 10 miles. About 10 miles from there. I was routing it, before Victor got here, I was looking at it myself because hopefully I'll be there soon. And my plan is to go out there and hang out with Victor for a little bit, see what he's up to. And
who's there at the house now? Is your mother-in-law still there?
My mother-in-law is there. We've got a caretaker living with her. Rita's there now. So Rita's just spent the holidays, Rita, my wife. Yeah. And then, she'll come home, then she'll tag me in, and then I'll go out. And at that time, Victor's going to be hanging out there and sleeping on our couch. So
nice.
Yeah. It should be fun, man. He gets to explore in some of these places we've been talking about for a long time. And he's got his bike here. What bike are you taking, Victor?
I've got an old Trek. I got off Facebook.
Yeah, just like a old Trek mountain bike.
Yeah.
So like kind of perfect bike to go.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something nice to run around on out there. I think you don't need anything more than that, And if you, like I said, if you if you're able to hook up with these guys, then I think borrowing a bike or whatever is going to be a big problem. So
it's nice to just kind of, use the network for everything I can, and then, just travel on the cheap for myself, and it's super nice. Like I appreciate it from everybody, and it's it kind of lets me do the trip. Like the same aunt that is going to be out there pretty much employed me for the last month or so in New York.
Yeah, that's right. So Victor was working with his aunt. Well, tell us what what does your aunt do?
Well, she usually works the Chris Kindle markets here.
Here in Chicago, right?
And they got turned on 2 new markets in New York, so they just needed an extra hand to help them set it up and kind of just start out for the first couple of weeks. So I was out there helping them. They sell these these little wood puzzles that
Mm-hmm.
they don't take any glue or anything, and they all move, and people love them. So kind of just like demo them at the table. You know, it looks all cool. They're all like built and stuff.
So she actually runs the market. Tells people where
No,
to sit up.
not the market. So she rents a booth.
She has her own booth.
So she has these products that she sells, and she was doing them here in Chicago, and they went pretty well here at the Chris Kringle's market, Chris Kringle market here in Chicago. Yeah. So she's like, well, let's expand and
New York.
To New York, yeah, in Central Park, right? And one of the
we had one in Central Park and then one in Herald Square by the Macy's.
Okay, wow, that checked you out. You sound very New York over, Herald Square, man, by the Macy's. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Where'd you stay at down there?
New Jersey.
New Jersey,
right across the river.
Just like rented a house.
An Airbnb, yeah, it's too expensive to stay in Manhattan. You had a crew out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like 3 or 4 of us for a while, but the rest of their family went out and kind of just hung out.
Yeah,
that's freaking cool.
That's a cool way to spend your holidays, right? I mean, New York City, working a booth. I mean, like a great way to meet people and kind of
Chris Kringle Market in New York City. It's probably got to be freaking busy, man. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. They did less. Really? They said the Chicago markets did way, way better.
Wow.
Because I guess here it's like a destination to go. To that market,
over there's
really
New York.
You have Broadway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't have to go. Like
who's going to Chris Kringle?
Yeah, but you got the United Nations. You've got Broadway. You've got you've got major television shows filming there. Like talk shows. There's a lot of stuff to probably pull you in different directions. You don't have to go down and get a little boot with cider.
It's just like Court. You go to Court down here.
Yeah, I mean, here, right? I mean, even State Street these days is pretty abandoned. Yeah. I mean, State Street right now. Have you seen State Street lately in Chicago? Oh man, there's nothing there, man. It's like there's
everything's closed up and
there's vacancies all over the place. I mean, really, Chicago.
Magnificent Mile, right?
Not the magnificent. No, that's Michigan Avenue.
That's Michigan. Okay.
So State Street, that used to be kind of a commercial strip there, man. It's dark, and the only thing is the Chicago Theater at one end, by Lake Street.
Right, yeah.
But all the way to Congress, man, it's pretty sad sight down there these days. No reason really to.
Yeah. They're doing a good
State
job
Street.
Down there.
Where?
In Chicago. They're doing a nice They're managing that city very well.
Well, I don't. It's
good job, man.
Yeah,
there's still. Of course, I'm being sarcastic because it's gone way downhill.
They haven't given a lot of people in the suburbs good reason to go down there anymore. Like people out here have no desire. It used to be a thing to go downtown, look at the windows.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, life has kind of changed.
They don't have that anymore. The Christmas decorations.
Marshall Fields has been gone for like a million years, right? I guess they were doing that at whatever the store was. It took over Macy's, right? Didn't Macy's take over for Marshall Fields? I think they were doing that for a little while, but that whole thing has been gone that tradition and all that's been gone for a really long time.
Just before your time, there was like scary puppets in the windows where they'd have animation,
there's old people stuff.
Cool stuff, yeah. But that's I remember going down there, taking a bus down there with my mom.
You got Instagram now, man. You're not missing nothing. Yeah. TikTok. You got all sorts of stuff. Plenty of things to keep yourself occupied.
Yeah.
I still love riding down in the city when I would in the summer. Yeah. Getting down to the lakefront when we go. Everybody goes down, and I fall in love with the city every time.
Big cycling city, right? They got the streets set up for everything for cycling, and
there's more people. Lanes. There's more people riding bikes than ever down in the city. I mean, I was working down there when nobody was commuting. Well, commuting wasn't a thing.
Okay.
I mean, there was my friend Chris opened the first commuter-centric bike shop in the city, Rapid Transit.
Yeah.
Rapid Transit on North Avenue near Damon, like in Wicker Park there.
Okay.
And that was like in the late 80s, early 90s. I don't know if it was maybe 91. There? No, it's long gone. It's gone. Huh? It's gone from Wicker Park a long time ago, but he got priced out. That neighborhood, changed. It turned. So he was there when there were like streetwalkers, there were a lot of prostitutes and stuff. And
now it's all.
There was a rough neighborhood. Like you park your car. I had my car broken into there, A friend of mine left his guitar in my back seat.
Well, it's changing again. So it's changing. Wicker Park is like big money over there now.
It's the new Lincoln
money,
Park.
but
It's equivalent to what Lincoln Park was when I first started working at Cycle Smithy.
Yeah.
So Lincoln Park's a little bit more mellow than it was back when I was working over. When I was working over there, it was all bars, and it was all those apartments around there were rented out to like college students and young people.
Like 6 people to an apartment.
Yeah. You had like a lot of bars up and down the street. I mean, there was a lot of nightlife and stuff. And then in the time that I was working there, a lot of those apartments turned into condominiums, like those buildings, those 3 flats and stuff turned into kind of condos.
Right.
And families started moving in and it started quieting down a lot. It got really expensive. So you didn't have a lot of college kids living there, 5 to an apartment like they were.
It used to be just party central all over the place.
Oh, yeah, up and down that street, up and down up and down Clark Street. It was just, a bunch of bars. It was a hopping place. And that's why it was so much fun to work at the bike shop.
It's all kind of like went away. It's all changed.
Yeah, it's different now.
Families now.
Yeah, it's just kind of shifted. Yeah. Yeah, Victor, you're in for a good time out there, man. I don't know how we drifted off into all of that.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, man. You don't get this opportunity. Well, you're just never going to be this age again. And I've told you, and I drummed it into you, and I'm really happy to see you going off because you don't get to be, what are you, 22?
Yeah.
You don't get to be 22 and do this ever again. You're only 22 once,
Yeah, if it weren't for you, I'd probably be in college.
Yeah, no, get out of college. If you're listening to us, get the fuck out of college. No, but I certainly encourage you to, like, people to travel early and young because, I travel now, but it's not the same. It's not. When I was 22, I could be at a bar by myself and meet people. And then follow them to the next bar. Like you just meet young people, and then their young people are doing young people things.
Yeah.
But when you're 50, there ain't a lot of 50-year-olds, first of all, out partying, right? I mean, and you're 50. And so it's like, there's only so much party in you. Yeah. And then to meet other 50-year-olds that are partying, not a lot. There's not a lot of people like, hey, we're going to the next bar. You want to come with us? Or, hey, you need a couch to sleep on? Yeah. You can come to my house and stay on my couch. But at 22, you're just like, you just say, all you have to do is say yes. And you get dragged along. And especially in Spain, any town like, some of these international European countries, or European cities, Barcelona, Madrid, Paris, I'm sure, is the same way. There's so many young people there that are like-minded, that are there for the adventure and the party. That you just get, you'll find yourself at a bar, you'll find yourself at a party or something, and everyone's there doing the same thing that you're doing, just trying to meet people, traveling, discovering themselves. Like trying to figure themselves out. That you just. You're at a time in life when you're able to do that. And if you miss that window, you just, it's not that you can't travel, but it's just different. You're also like, when you're 35, you don't want to sleep on somebody's couch, like 4 people sleeping on the floor. But when you're 22, you'll do anything, like, I don't care, man. I'll use my book bag as my pillow. I'll sleep on the floor. I don't care. I don't care if I don't shower for 2 or 3 days, I'll take a shower in the public bath. I'll wash up in the public bathroom. I'll be fine. When you get older, you get used to some creature comforts, and it just becomes harder to do. Not that you can't do it; you sure can. But if I stumbled on a 50-year-old dude who was doing that, I'd be like, you know what? It's not a good look, right?
No.
You have a bit of a bum look to you by the time you're 50, if you're still doing that, and definitely
that's true.
The 20-year-old kids aren't inviting you back to their apartment to sleep.
Who's this weird dude?
Yeah, who's this weird old dude? He's like,
problem, man?
He's as old as my dad.
Trying to party with us.
He wants a party, yeah. You don't get asked out to those parties, but and hopefully, if you meet the right, if you meet the really cool thing that's happened to me, and the opportunity to travel at, when I was that old, when I was that young, I guess, is that a lot of the people that I met at that time, they've kind of done the same. They've grown up, right? Like I've grown up, and they've done cool things. They've gone on and started their own businesses and done their own things and have their own lives. And now when I go back to Spain, like they have a house. Well, sometimes they have 3 houses, and they're like, "Joe, stay in my house."
No kidding.
You know what I mean? Like, or come and stay at my place. I have a spare bedroom, just like they do when they come here, and I have a place that I can offer them. So like these friendships that you make at a very early age, they can, if you maintain them, if they're real, they're good friendships, and a lot of times those are the ones that stick with you. 30 years later, man, you're still like, I'm on this trip. I'll go visit a bunch of people that I met when I was 19 years old. Yeah. Like they're still my friends to this day. And instead of sleeping on somebody's couch, I'm, I got a bedroom, I got like, they've also progressed. They've also grown up. They've done, some of them have families, some of them don't, they'll pick me up and we'll drive and go off and talk about what's been happening for the last 3 years or 5 years, Yeah.
So what do you need? What do you need to go there? You just need a passport?
Yeah.
Or you got to have you don't need a visa or nothing.
No, you just need a passport. For 3 months, you're good with a passport. Okay. So you got 3 months.
You got to carry that with you all the time?
I have a card, like a driver's license version of my passport.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? If he's not traveling, if he's just like running around in Alicante, he can get away with just have your little ID card. Okay. But if he was, if he starts traveling, like going to stay in another town,
Portugal or something like that.
Yeah, if he goes to Portugal, he's got to, actually in Spain, some of the laws have changed this year at the start of the year, where I think if you're getting like a hotel room, they have to register you, like you have to produce your passport, and they have to take like your passport number and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's...
So they're keeping track of people.
They're trying to. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how vigorous they are about doing it, but there is a new law, and that was passed, and they're demanding some more information from people. So it's there was a big there's a big debate about.
Well, they got a lot of immigrants there too, right? Illegal immigrants are.
Yeah, they got a ton.
Right.
Yeah, a ton.
So they're probably wanting to keep a track of everybody. You can't blame them.
Yeah, I mean that's. Yeah, I think that's part of it. But all the people that own hotels, like the hospitality industry, is all against it because it's really cumbersome for people to spend 25 minutes registering at the. You got a lot of tourists coming through. If everybody's got to spend 20 minutes filling out a form and doing paperwork, and they got to register everybody at a hotel. At a hotel, I mean, that's going to back everything up. You imagine you have a tour group showing up, like a bus showing up with 30 people, and everyone's got to do the same thing. It's like, holy cow, So, Shit. So yeah, it's a little tricky. Well, Victor, what's like the first thing you're going to do when you get there?
I don't know. Put my bike together.
Yeah,
probably is number one. I don't know. Unfold the couch.
Is there have you looked at anything? Have you been like studying the town that you're living in? Is there anything that's kind of caught your eye that, I really want to go do that, or I want to visit that place as soon as I get there?
Nothing in particular. I was planning on just kind of showing up and checking.
Going with the flow?
Yeah.
That, you know what? That is a good attitude. That's the way I would suggest you do it. Yeah. Just, you're not there for like 10 days. You're not there on a tourist, right. Even if I were there for 10 days, I don't like just running around and seeing like a million. You don't really see, you don't experience anything if you're just running around and seeing. You see a lot of stuff. Yeah. You don't experience anything. All you experience is like running around. It's like I waited in line. I saw that place, and I saw that place, and I saw that place, but you've been rushing around to see all these different things. Like
that's like. I don't like that at all.
No, I rather just get I like just getting a hotel room, going down the street, finding the local restaurant, hanging out, talking to people. Like I could,
How long are you going for?
At least a couple of weeks. Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to have a lot more time than that. Hopefully, if everything works out around here, I'm able to get back sometime again in the spring before summer starts, or maybe even during the summer. I'd like to It would be cool to get back there before you head home, Vic, just so we can go and, hang out a little bit.
If you come home.
If you come home. Well, yeah.
Find a job or something out there, man. Find some chick.
Hey, it's happened to me, man. You fall in love, Vic.
I said, fuck it, I'm staying.
Yep, that happens a lot. You fall in love out there, Vic. Nothing wrong with that. And, before you know it, she's got a grandma with a spare house somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. You're staying there. And
working on a farm and shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, eating sandwiches that she makes you and sneaking out to you, and so.
Can you stay in like every country like 3 months if you were to tour, going to France? Can you stay there another?
That's a good question. I don't know.
3 months and that's it.
I think it's technically the EU is 3 months. Okay. Because you don't need a passport to go from Spain to France. They don't. There's no border stop. There's no.
Really?
Yeah, they don't stop you at the border and check your passport. They used to, but they don't do that anymore because it's all the EU.
When did the EU start?
It came into the EU started before it actually came into effect, but boy, it's probably goes all the way back to the 80s where the start of it all happened, but like they didn't switch to the euro until I think in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. Wow, man.
I think that's kind of when all of that stuff went down, and then they, it kind of, it was all, there were like different things going on. It kind of eased into the EU. It's not like they flipped a switch and all of a sudden we're the EU and we're all using one money. And, it was like little by little by little. It was there were just kind of like a series of things that went into effect. But the one that really, I think, transformed everything was when, the money actually switched, when they all, left the Spanish peseta and the franc and, all that stuff. And the prices went up through the roof for a lot of people.
You could go skiing, dude.
Oh, up into the Pyrenees, man. And it's like,
man.
And it's right there. The Pyrenees are awesome, man. Like, you got that. Go up to Gret, to Lutzardiden and all that stuff, man. It's beautiful up there.
Lots to do. Only 3 months in the EU. It's hard to get it all in.
Yeah, if you get yourself a girlfriend, man. You get yourself a girlfriend. It's easy enough to get married out there. Before you know it, you got papers and a passport and all that stuff, man. Yeah, you're gonna have an awesome time, man.
How long does it take to reset? Like if you leave and then come back, like if I went somewhere else for like 2 or 3 weeks, would that like count? Can I come back for another 3 months?
I think you can only technically be there for like 100 and like half a year, like 180 days or something. It's 150 something days. Man. So whatever a half a year is. Yeah. Cause I have friends that
without working
6 months, you can be, without a visa. So you can get a visa, you can get a non-lucrative visa. So you can get a visa, but then you have to show that you make money. You got money coming in from, you have a source of income and that you can support yourself there without working.
I got you. Yeah.
So you can get a visa there. But if you're going there just as a tourist, I have some friends that own property there, and they get to the point where they have to watch their days there and then they have to fly home to Chicago because they can't overstay. And it'll be cumulative. So, they're like, oh, they might be 3 days there. They might be there for 3 weeks and then 2 months and then another month and a half. But then when they start getting close, they got to actually start counting the days. And they're like, oh, I got to get home before this day because then I go over. And
they just what happened? Did they just fine you?
Deport your ass.
I think they just
throw you in jail.
It's midnight and you're out of there.
I don't know that they have it together enough to do that.
Yeah.
But they don't want to push it. It's not like the police are going to come and kick you out of the country or anything, but they just don't want to have any trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens because none of them have been dumb enough to, they've all been very careful about doing it. Back in the day, I was able to stay there for 6 months straight.
Okay.
without a visa. So I think you can. Ooh,
dude, that's good. You're gonna be able to go out on some boats and shit, right? Some fishermen out, dude.
yeah.
Hook up with some fishermen.
No, well, he's already got he's got the hookup, man. We got a hookup with a boat. Yeah. My father-in-law's friends, they got two of them got boats. I was on a boat the last time I was there. And actually, when I'm there in February, it's calamari season. Oh my God. And you fish for calamari at night.
Yeah.
You know?
Seafood?
Sounds so good.
Yeah.
I do. I love
seafood. Yeah, fresh. Yeah. I've never, I mean, they tell me that fresh calamari, like out of the water, is like just like crazy, crazy good.
I bet.
But you fish that at night.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law was telling me, it's like you fish and you fish close to the shore, because the lights from the shore attract the calamari up.
Yeah.
You know, up near it. He's like, people that cheat, and then he winked at me. He's like, they'll use a little light at the back of the boat to attract the calamari. Yeah. He's like, yeah, but they kind of watch that during calamari season, so they're out there kind of, you know, patrolling the shores and stuff. But actually, that's one of the reasons I want to go out in February, because I was supposed to go out calamari fishing, you know, last year, but I didn't get a chance to. I didn't chance to get back.
Just like on a small boat, or is it a big boat?
Small boat. Small boat.
Two-person boat?
No, I mean you could fit maybe 4 or 6 people.
Okay.
It's pretty typical of that of the Mediterranean. These little boats.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, you know, they're not yachts or anything. These are just little fisherman boats.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, you can fit. You know, you could probably fit 5 or 6 people on there easy. You know, that wouldn't be too much for the boat. I'm sure you can put a few more on there if you wanted to, but I mean, I've been on those with like 5 people, and it's comfortable. You know, a couple of benches and stuff, and you fish a lot of. They got tuna. There's like a season when they get the tuna up in that area, and I mean, you know, we don't go deep out. These guys are older, and the boats are smaller, so you're not going deep into the Mediterranean.
Yeah. Right.
But the Mediterranean is a pretty calm sea, you know. It's not super choppy. It's not like you're going out into the Atlantic or something like that. You know, down there you need a real boat. So, oh man, it's a year to remember for you, Victor. 2025, man, it's starting out good. Do a little travel for you, man.
It's gonna be the new
very excited for you.
It's gonna be the new reference year. You know, 2020 was the last one for me. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people that I know, that's like the reference year for them too. It was just like the most interesting, you know, good or bad. It just was the most interesting.
Well, I mean, I think as you get farther and farther from the COVID year from 2020, you'll realize just how big it is and what a shock it's been to society in general. You know, I think we're still kind of living some people still don't get what we just went through. There are other people that are still wearing masks. Yeah. Then there's other people like, you know, I think like us that are like, you kind of realize that was actually a really big deal, and making like big life adjustments and well, like what's next, and certainly not thinking like you were 5 years ago. Plus you're 5 years older, you know? So, I mean, you also realize how quickly time goes by, because it seems like it was yesterday, but it was 5 years ago. Right. So it's a whole combination of things where, you know, it's like, holy cow, that was 5 years ago. Like, you know, there's people that are dead. Yeah. There's people, you know, I was listening to somebody talk about, you know, how you plan your life and all that stuff. And he's like, she's like, once I got to 50, he's like, I plan my life. Like, I don't look really deep into the future. Like, I plan my life in 5 years segments now. Yeah. Like, what's going to happen from between now and 5 years? Because when you get this old, like, your parents can die. Like, like really big life-changing things happen in a very short period of time. It's not like when you're 20, like, man, your parents are probably, you know, most likely your parents are going to be alive, or, you know, your dog's still going to be alive. But as you get older, it's like things happen, like in 5 years, a lot of stuff can change, you know, like a lot of things can happen in 5 years. So you can't make really long-term plans anymore. You know, like your plans have to be like a little bit more, a little tighter.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? You're right, because you can't count on like, oh, you know, I'll go, you know, one of these days I'll go see my aunt. And you're like, yeah, but shit, man, my aunt, you know what I mean? Like my aunt might not be here in a year and a half or 2 years. You know, it's like there's things that are like things just start happening as you know when you hit 50 that you don't even consider when you're 22.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, even health things and you know health problems and all sorts of stuff. Like 5 years when you're this age is that's a big deal. You know, 5 years when you're 22, dude, not a big deal.
Shit. Yeah, it doesn't mean shit.
5 years from now, you're still be in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's still going to be a young kid. So, yeah, man. So, like old men telling you stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Even around here, like in the bike shop, you know, like everything is, you know, we're not planning for like 10 years from now anymore. You know, like I'm looking at the next 2 to 3 years. You know, I'm like, you know, it's just, it's our 15th year this is our 15th year in business. So 2025 is 15 years that we've been here. It seems like nothing.
Wow. Yeah.
Seems like nothing, you know, but you know, I just put that memorial video together for Earl. Right. So like, I just did, you know, one of these guys who had been here, you know, when I was looking through all the photos, he'd been here since before we opened the bike shop. He was already poking around.
A video of skinny Ryan in there.
Yeah,
At the end, you had a big fat Ryan in there. Same guy.
Same guy, but it was about 150-pound difference. Yeah, because when I met him, he was 175 pounds.
He was with Chase,
Mhm.
and they were both skinny.
They were both skinny. Yeah, because
Chase is still skinny, and Ryan's probably like 300 pounds. He got really big, man.
He's gained a little bit of weight for sure, and you know, it's just he's also a dad now. So when I met him, he wasn't, you know, he had a girlfriend, and now he's, you know, he married that girl, and now he's got 2 kids, and you know, it's so again, it just kind of goes like life swallows you up, man.
Chase has 2 kids.
Chase, the other kid who was like sitting in, he's 10 years younger than Ryan, and he's got 2 kids.
How old is he then? 30?
He is 34.
Chase
is.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 34.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like he's another one. He was like a kid when he started here. He was he was still in college at IIT when he started working here. And
very mature.
No, he was a smart kid. He was one of those, you know, guys that worked here, and you're like, okay, like one of these days you're off to bigger and better things.
Yeah, right.
You know, and he worked here on the weekends, even after he got a good job and he was an engineer and blah, blah, blah. And he was still coming in like a day or 2 a week until he met a girl. And then you know, the girl that he married actually. And, you know, life gets serious and you don't have any time to fool around anymore, and you get married and you get a couple kids. And so I tell you, man, don't do it. Don't do it. Wait, you know, I mean, wait, at least, you know, wait a little bit. And yeah, I mean, you know, and so just looking at all those, I was kind of forced to look through all the photos and videos and all that stuff. And you're like, wow, man, it seems like yesterday. Like all that stuff was just yesterday. But
Earl lost a lot of weight. You can see in
the video.
Yeah, you can see he lost a lot of weight.
A lot of weight. He was a big boy. I forgot how big and strong he was. Yeah. And how frail he was at the end. Because I have a video of him the last day that he worked here.
Okay.
I didn't use it in there, you know.
Yeah.
But I have a video of him the last day that he worked here. And it's shocking. And I knew he was getting older, and I knew he was having some health trouble.
Yeah, right.
But when you see the photos, especially when he was like chubby, like he was kind of fat Earl, like early on, like he was thick. I mean, even his face was like big and round, and he was, you know, he had a lot of fat in his cheeks and stuff. He was still, you know, because when he started hanging out here, you want to hear a shocker? You want to hear something that puts it in perspective, Joe?
Yeah.
When he started hanging out here, he was our age.
In his 50s.
He died. He was 70 years old. He was
Okay.
55 15 years ago. 55. How old are you?
Be 55 this month.
So he was the same age as you are right now.
Oh shit!
In some of those videos, because that's when I opened 15 years ago. He died at 70.
Okay, yeah.
So you do the math. He was 55. In some of those videos, he was your age.
Yeah.
And now he's dead. 15 years later, man. It's not like that's not a long time ago, and it's like dude, man, it's like it goes flying. It goes flying, man. And
yeah, it's almost over for me, man.
No,
you're gonna have to go live it up for me, dude.
I don't. On the other hand, like people like him were thinking very differently 15 years ago than we are now. Than we have the opportunity to think right now. And I think part of that is due to COVID. Right. Like you had this time out and you had a moment to think. You didn't get like life didn't sweep you up. You had a moment to like time out.
Fuck, I could die. I could get sick from COVID and fucking die within a week.
Yeah, I mean, you had a moment to like rethink things. You had people dying around you and stuff, and so like it put a lot of stuff in perspective for people. I think in some cases it was the worst thing to ever happen to people, but on the other hand, it was like the best thing ever to happen. Yeah, I'm a big fan of disruption, and I'm a big fan of someone grabbing you and shaking you a little bit, and like whoa, kind of waking you up a little bit. And I think there was a big part of society. Some people not. Some people Some people are just. I don't. Like some people went in the opposite direction, and you see it. You definitely see it. Like some people have aged so much in the last 5 years, and then there's other people who are like, "Holy cow, man! Like you're looking good. Look at your." You bought a house down in North Carolina. You're mountain biking now. You said screw it, and you retired early, and you're happier than ever. And the neighbor right here, the lady that owned the flower shop next to us, Julie.
Yeah.
She bought a bed and breakfast in Mexico. Sold her business.
That's right. Yeah.
Sold her house. Bought a bed and breakfast down in Mexico, and she visited me like before Christmas. She stopped by to say hello, like around Thanksgiving.
Get out of here. Wow.
Because I get, she still has family in the area, so she comes up to town, and she looked like she looked like she had lost 5 years off of her life, and she was thin, and she was bright. Her face looked bright. Like she was so happy, like she was happy. And the only time, I mean, Vic, you knew her.
Yeah.
Right? You talked to her, right? I mean, we used to see her every day. What was your impression of her?
I mean, yeah, she just kind of seemed tired of running that place, to be honest. Like
she was always in a bad mood.
I mean,
right?
she was how many years? She was always happy when I went in there,
Yeah, I mean, she was happy enough. Right. But I mean, she was always like, I would run into her at night,
She was there for how long? 25 years or something?
20 plus years, yeah. 20 plus years. I mean, she'd been here for a long time. It was just her, but now she's like, I'm living my best life. I'm living the best life, best thing I ever did. She was running me through her life, like what she does. She's like, oh, I get up, I have this breakfast. And then she was describing her breakfast. And, she's like, oh, yeah, they give you this ham and these 3 eggs and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, and it's only $4. It's like, for $4. And
so
like,
she bought like a hotel or a motel or just like a 3-unit or something like that? Or what?
Yeah, it's like a hacienda. What would you call it over there? It's like,
or just one house.
It's a property that's got like a lot of rooms, and it's got like a courtyard with a pool in it. So not quite a hotel, but it's got like these homes on the property, these little like apartments on the property. Okay. And she has it rented out all season. Like she's got a bunch of people down there, and, kind of pays for itself. And,
where at?
Bucias and Bus. I think it's like a coastal town. Bucias, I think it's what it's called.
What side of the country?
I don't know. I have to look at it. I have to look it up on a map.
You didn't get a card for her or nothing?
She's got a website somewhere. I have all of that information, but the last place I'm going to go stay is at her bed and breakfast down in Mexico.
That's pretty cool, man.
But it is cool.
She looks a lot different now.
Yeah, she looks totally she looks like 10 years younger. She's thinner. She's blonder. She's just like
happier.
She's happier. She's like happy. She was bubbly, and I was like, wow, man, that's like good for you. Good
How did she get citizenship in Mexico?
I think I don't know.
She figured all that shit out.
She did all of that stuff. I don't know if they have like a golden visa down there too. Like in Spain, actually the program in Spain is about to end in April. But if you buy a property for $500,000 or more, you can get citizen. You can get visas for you and your family. Also, if you made like a $500,000 investment in a business, you can get visas for you and your extended family. But
that's pretty cool.
The government is they've been trying to end it, and I think they just announced an official date in April. So. Yeah, they're still fighting that.
There goes my plan.
Yeah.
Well, you could have bought. Yeah, well, it's all right. You can still marry a girl there, Vic.
Yeah.
You still got options. So, yeah.
All good.
So what do you got going on for this season? Now, we're right at the beginning of January. We just turned the corner on 2025.
Yeah.
And are you like a resolutions guy? You got any big plans for this year? You got some goals that you want to do, bike stuff that you want to accomplish?
Probably mostly work stuff,
stuff.
I want to get more certifications and stuff like that for work. And luckily where I'm working now, I make pretty good money, so I make pretty good money. I got a good boss over there, and the village of Bolingbrook's very supportive of their employees, so it'd be wise for me to take the opportunity to take more tests and get more certifications and stuff like that. But I want to lose another 20 pounds. I don't know if that's going to happen. That probably almost never falls through.
A little bit of riding. Hopefully you have
able to ride.
Hopefully, well, you've had back issues, right?
Back and neck issues.
Yeah. How's that coming along?
Back, it comes and goes. Not too bad. But the last time back in June, that's when I had to go to the damn emergency room because I had a back spasm.
Yeah.
So I hope that doesn't happen again. But it's been a while. It's been a while, since that happened. Now I got medication for that, some painkillers for that in case I do get that, But,
wow.
Did it knock you over? Were you walking and you fell?
Dude, no, it just came on, and I was already having back pain, and it hit me so hard that I couldn't even freaking walk. My legs were just shaking,
Yeah, I was thinking a seizure. I was imagining almost like a seizure. Where
not necessarily a seizure, but my legs were shaking real bad, and I was in so much freaking pain. I couldn't lay down. I couldn't sit down, and you're just writhing in pain, I never had that before.
Yeah, that sucks.
Wow.
Just the back spasm, dude. Muscle spasm.
Really? Wow.
Muscle spasm. But I already had back pain. I had for my herniated discs. So, but the muscle spasm thing was new. That was a new experience.
What did they think it was? Was it like a nerve? Something?
Well, the herniated discs, they push on a nerve, and then that'll go down like your legs, Same with my neck. So if I turn my neck a certain way, it'll shoot down my arm. But a muscle spasm, I guess a muscle spasm could happen anywhere on your body and your muscles, and if it tightens up or does whatever the hell it did, man, it's just agonizing fucking pain, dude.
Really?
I've had disc pain, and I've had muscle spasm pain. Muscle spasm pain is way worse than disc pain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's like number 10 pain right there all the way, right now,
Jeez.
Whereas your back, you could probably do some exercises and some stretches to help with your nerve pain, But nah, muscle spasm pain, dude.
Wow. And you
different animal, yeah.
Yeah, you weren't able to ride a bike at all last year, right?
Not really. No.
Jeez. How about you?
Resolution.
I don't know. You got plans, resolutions, whatever you call them.
I don't know. Resolution probably just
get laid.
Get more in shape. Even more in shape,
Yeah.
I don't know. Since I hurt my knee, that's been getting better, but all the people I've found, just kind of looking around in line, the the standard I should be holding myself to, like I raised it, you know. So I want to like kind of achieve that, and then I think that would be
a standard of what?
Of like fitness, you know, mobility, kind of being able to just like jump into stuff. Because right now I have to warm up like a ton to feel ready for pretty much anything, you know.
Well,
like
you
want to go like rock climbing or something. Like I want to be able to warm up 10 minutes and just like, you know.
Well, you had a knee complication.
Yeah.
So what happened to your knee?
I tore my meniscus climbing, you know, and that was kind of just like a dumb move, you know, like.
Yeah.
But
and you had surgery when?
May.
In May.
Yeah.
But now you're not 100% yet, but kind of
like,
close to it.
I'd say like 75. Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of just like all the, you know, I had to sit there for my leg straight for like 6 weeks. You know,
no, you were here. You were
you up. You know,
they don't want you to bend it or nothing, right?
Well, you can bend it, but you know, I can like walk on it bent for a long time. You know, and most of the day it's straight, so that kind of just makes you really weak in general.
Shit, you gonna be able to ride a bike?
Yeah, I'll be good for sure.
Yeah, riding a bike is okay for you, right?
But that like just recently started being all right for like some actual riding. You know, like I mean, I think I did like a 20-mile ride in like September or October, and that did not go well. Like I couldn't I could barely even walk the next day. Like it hurt really bad. So then I was like, all right, you know, a little more time. I think like November it really started like kind of getting back up. Like I tried running and it didn't hurt. Went on some longer rides, it didn't hurt. You know, so
Jesus,
it's like just starting to get back into full swing. You know, because I mean their standard like for the average person, it's like I was better in September. You know, like I could walk around.
Gotcha.
That's it. That's all you really need to do.
That's all they really want. Yeah, I mean, like for them, that's good enough. But you live a pretty. I mean, you've got a lot of activities that you like to participate in, and and in order to do that, then that's what you need all that extra, you know, all the extra points for, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's going well. My goal is to just continue it, I guess.
Oh, that's
number
cool.
one. Second is just, you know.
Well, the second one will take care of itself. The travel, the fact that you're like flying off to Spain on Wednesday. I mean, then all the other stuff is just, you know, meet new people, check, travel, check, learn a language, check. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going to come. It's going to be a wave, whether you like it or not.
Right. That's what I like about it too. You just buy the ticket. That's all you have to do.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about traveling is, like, you know, I mean, especially like what you're doing and going and parking it there for 3 years, you know, for 3 months is like, meet new people, check. Learn a new language, check. Travel, check. Put yourself out of your, you know, get yourself out of your comfort zone, check. You know,
just don't fuck your knee up.
Work out,
stupid that you're going to get sidelined.
Yeah, well, but the good thing is you're in Spain. They got a great health system over there, so I mean, you're golden over there.
See a physio.
Yeah, it's not going to ruin you. I got a good physio over there.
You do.
Actually, I only see her when I'm there. I don't see a physical therapist when I'm here because it's kind of pricey and you know. But over there, I've got a really good one. So like whenever
sweet.
She's great, man. She's great. She's she'll do a lot of. She's got a office now full of people, and they do great work. I'll hook you up with it. You can ride your bike down there. It's a nice ride.
Perfect.
I wish I had somebody doing that here for, you know, I wish, we have somebody here we have somebody upstairs. I don't know if she does all of that stuff.
Yeah, we need one in-house.
I just don't want her to see, you know, I was like, I don't know about what I want her to see her. I don't.
Take all your clothes off.
Yeah, you know, it's like, and then I got to see her in the parking lot every day. No, kind of weird. So,
That's when you sent Chase up there, right?
Milicio.
Was it Milicio?
It was Milicio. Yeah, okay. we were here. We were sitting around the bike shop, and she came in earlier in the day. Yeah. So the lady, it's a Polish lady, and she does like a physical therapy, massage therapy upstairs in one of the offices upstairs. Nice Polish lady.
Yeah.
And she came in and she's like, Joe, can you help me move some cabinets? And I'm like, well, I'm busy right now, but I've got one of my guys that's coming in later on. Maybe he can help you.
Yeah.
And I was thinking Chase or one of the other guys would come in, but Milicio came in. Milicio, one of our friend of the shop. He came in later, a little bit later, like an hour later, came into the shop, and I said, No, I got to go back. Sorry, I'm telling the story wrong. She said, I'm doing a class upstairs for a massage class for like face and body massage. And I need a model. She's like, I need a model. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, and I was working. I'm like, oh, I can't be a model, but maybe one of the guys would like to go up. And then I told Ryan, and he's like, I'm going up there. And I'm like, come on, you go get a facial massage and stuff. You just go up there. And he's like, oh, up there, man. Yeah, I'm like, go up, man. If I could do it, I'd do it, but I can't. I got to hold down the shop. And he's like, no, I can't go. Then Malicio came in. I said, oh. And Malicio walks in. And I'm like, hey, Malicio, go upstairs. Grajna needs some help moving a file cabinet. Yeah. So he goes upstairs to the massage office, right? He goes up there. And he's like, hi, I'm here. I'm here to help you. And
Joe sent me up here.
And she's like, oh, good. She takes her to the back into the office and sits him down. She's like, oh, sit down here. And then she pulls the curtain. Malicio's like, okay, this is weird. And then she comes back and she's like, take your shirt off. Go ahead and take your shirt off. And Malicio's like a really nice guy.
What the fuck?
Malicio's like super nice, right? Like he's not the kind of guy to like, he's like, I don't know what's happening. But he takes his shirt off. Right? And then he's sitting there, and then she pulls the curtain, and there's like 5 people sitting down there. And she tells him to lay down, and she proceeds to give him like this facial massage and teach this class in front of 5 people. He's gone for like an hour and a half. And we're like, oh my God, this is crazy. I wonder what's going on up there. And he comes back about an hour and a half later, and he tells us this story. He tells us what happened. And we were rolling on the ground, man. He's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. He's like, before I knew it, I was there with no shirt, laying on the table. There are 5 people watching me. She's teaching this class, and they're all touching me.
They're all talking Polish, probably.
Yeah.
Polish. He doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Oh God! And he's like, Malicio's like the, he's the sweetest dude.
Yeah.
So he's not gonna be like, I'm out of here, So he just went with the flow. Oh man, that was like one of the high. That was the best.
Take your shirt off, honey.
Take your shirt off.
Wait, what? What are you talking about? What the fuck's going on
here? Take your shirt off.
You're closing it.
Yeah.
You're closing the curtain for
Yeah.
Take my shirt off. Yeah, I probably would have got up.
No, yeah. No.
What's behind the curtain first?
Yeah.
What's behind the curtain?
We all probably would have gotten up and been like, what's going on in here? But Malicio just went with the flow, man. He's a good dude. So, oh man. Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. Victor, I think you're, awesome, man.
Have a good time, man. It's good seeing you. I haven't seen you in a couple of years, but
has it been 2 years?
It's been a while since.
Really? It's been that long, huh?
Yeah.
Holy cow!
It's been a couple of years
since you've seen Victor.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, he was here this summer a couple of times, right? I mean, you were here a lot of the summer this year, right? Because you were sick and
I was here.
Okay. He was hurt. He had the surgery. He came home. He was here for a couple of months. He was hanging around here a lot.
Okay.
But you weren't here riding
a
lot
either.
Not this year, right? You had the back issue, and hopefully this is a better year, man. I'm hoping that just from comments that I saw online and messages that I got after we posted the video and stuff, like people just mentioning that 2024 was kind of a garbage year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just turmoil and a lot of things, dealing with things, people sick and, just whatever, you name it, it just seems like a lot of people were going through just dealing with stuff this year and that, in 2024, and that they were hoping there seems to be a lot of hope for 2025. There seems to just be like fresh, it's a common theme. It's one of those things you hear every year at the beginning of the year, but it really seems like this year, not only are people saying it, but they're doing it. You see people like Victor taking off and starting a new adventure.
Yeah, have a good trip, man.
Yeah,
see you in a few months.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody else is going out there to meet you. No.
His aunt will be out there later
Okay.
in the spring, right? In March, you said?
Yeah. That was actually a separate trip though. Before.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, they had their own thing going on.
Yeah, they
so
just
I mean,
happened to be going, so.
Yeah. So
But
Very cool, man.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna go and see what happens.
Yeah.
See who I meet up with. Like,
that's the attitude.
Yeah.
That's the attitude I would suggest going out there with, man. Just like no agenda. Just
exactly.
let the wind carry you. And like I said, when you're young, the wind carries you far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good time.
All right, man.
All righty. Thanks.
Yeah.
Have a good trip, man.
Till the next one.
You get back.
Adios.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That's right.